Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video vlog of the night for Tuesday, August 4th, 2015. Around 8:10 in the evening in Belleville, Massachusetts. Been a crazy day weather-wise and stuff, with a lot of rain, wind, hail, lightning, thunder, lots of power lines down, trees down. Hopefully everybody survived this wild weather, and it's supposed to get better tomorrow with low humidity. Some news to report. Happy National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. The Detroit Tigers released general manager Dave Dombrowski from contract after 12 seasons with the team. Was actually fired. There's rumors that he might be the next general manager of the Red Sox, but they debunked that rumor. And sad news to report, Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog are no longer together after 40 years. It's been a rough week for celebrity couples, and there's going to be more breakups, I think, in the coming days and stuff. Some could be very shocking. And reality television star Kim Richards is homeless and living out of a car. That's a sad story. That's about it on the news. My third and final video blog subject of the night, personalized profile. Tonight's personalized profile is about WWE Hall of Famer and 7-time NWA World Champion Harley Race, known by WWE fans as the King. Harley Race is a legend of the world of professional wrestling and one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and a great tough guy and stuff. He's been in sports entertainment for over 50 years in a various number of roles. Harley was born in Missouri, and he grew up a big wrestling fan as a youngster, watching wrestling from the old Dumont Network from the Chicago territory. Harley survived a childhood battle with polio. When he was a teenager, he got trained to be a professional wrestler by Sanaskius Sabisco and Wallach Sabisco. They're no relation to Larry Sabisco. And in high school, Harley got expelled after he got into a fight with a fellow student. One of the principals accidentally clipped Harley Race to break up the fight. Harley got mad and he assaulted the principal, so he got expelled. And then he made his professional wrestling debut in 1960, and he did some odd jobs for some of the promoters, including driving around another wrestler called Happy Humphreys, who was built well over 800 pounds. Actually, he was only 600 pounds and stuff, but he couldn't drive because his weight was big, so Harley drove him around. He probably got extra money for that and stuff. And Harley moved from territory to territory. He wrestled in some southern territories under the name of Jack Long. In 1963, Harley got into a near-fatal car accident that killed his then first wife, who was pregnant, and Harley suffered serious injuries. It's so bad that he almost had his leg amputated, but at the last minute wasn't amputated, but it took him a long time to get back into the ring. Then Harley returned to the ring, wrestled for the WWF briefly. Then he wrestled in the MLO territory, ran by Dory Funk Sr. His first big break was in 1965 when Harley went to the AWA. He teamed with Larry the Axe Henning, and he got the nickname Handsome Harley Race. Race and Henning were an awesome tag team in the AWA, winning the AWA World Tag Team titles 3 times, and they were one of the top tag teams in the 1960s. They feuded with the Bruiser and the Crusher. That's a legendary feud. Also feuded with Vern Gagne and Mad Dog Vachon and a few others. And in the late 1960s, Larry Henning and Harley Race broke up the team because Harley Race wanted to be a singles wrestler, and he wrestled in several territory after territory after territory, capturing many regional titles, including the Missouri State Championship many times, some titles in Florida, and some titles in Mid-Atlantic. He was the U.S. champion, and others. In 1973, Harley Race won the NWA World title from Dory Funk Jr. in Kansas City, He held it for a couple of months, but he lost it to Jack Briscoe. He was kind of a transitional champion. A lot of people on the NWA board wanted Harley Race to be a long-term NWA champion, but they decided on Jack Briscoe instead. Harley's famous moves was a diving headbutt off the top rope and the pile driver. He wrestled mainly as a heel in most territories except Central States when he was a fan favorite and stuff. Eventually, Harley Race bought into the Central States territory. In 1977, the board of directors of the NWA voted Harley Race as champion, and he beat Terry Funk in February of 1977. They said this, if like Harley Race did not get voted in as NWA World Champion by then, he would have not gotten another run at the title because there was other people ahead of him, including Nature Boy Ric Flair. But Ric Flair was only like 27 years old, and many members of the board of the directors said Ric Flair was a little too young to be NWA World Champion, so they gave it to Harley Race. And for the next several years, Harley Race was defending the NWA World title all across the world against Tony Atlas, Ted DiBiase, Dusty Rhodes, Tommy Wildfire Rich. He defended against Giant Baba, Pat Patterson, Fritz Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich, and others and stuff. He briefly dropped the title to Dusty Rhodes a couple of times, and also Giant Baba and Tommy Wildfire Rich, but he would always get it regained it back. He also had title versus title matches with WWF champion superstar Billy Graham in Florida in 1978. He also had a couple with AWA World Champion Nick Bockwinkel in 1979. A few times Harley actually played the de facto face in some of those matches because Nick Bockwinkel was a heel and stuff, and he also wrestled Bob Backlund at Madison Square Garden in like 1980 and stuff like that. And Harley Race's like interview style was great. He was he's one of the best talkers in the business and stuff. By the early 80s, Harley Race was getting a little tired of going out on the road, traveling as the NWA World Champion. He wanted to end his career wrestling in his own territory in Central States. He had one more run as the NWA World Champion in 1983. He beat Ric Flair in St. Louis, and then he started a long feud with Ric Flair over the NWA World title that culminated at Starrcade 83. Harley Race had like a bounty to put on $25,000 to take Ric Flair out of professional wrestling, and Bob Orton Jr. Attacked Ric Flair, and supposedly Ric Flair's career was over, but eventually Ric Flair came back and beat Bob Orton Jr. with the baseball bat that was to set up Starrcade 1983. But a few days before Starrcade 1983, Vince McMahon, who was turning the WWF from a regional promotion to a national promotion, had lunch with Harley Race at a restaurant, and he told Harley Race not to show up for Starrcade 1983, and we'll give you a signing bonus, $250,000 to take the NWA World title and have a unification match with Bob Backlund. But Harley Race refused to do it because he made a commitment to Jim Crockett and to Ric Flair. He would drop the belt to Ric Flair, and he didn't want to be blackballed from wrestling. Harley Race did the job to Ric Flair in a steel cage match again for the NWA World title at Starrcade 83. Gene Kiniski was the referee. Afterwards, for the next couple of years, Harley Race basically wrestled in Central States and a couple of other territories and stuff. And he was basically going to end his wrestling career, but the NWA was dying, and also eventually became the main NWA territory was Jim Crockett Promotions and stuff, and Harley Race did not really get along with Jim Crockett. In the spring of 1986, Harley Race signed with the WWE. At first he had the Hampson Harley Race name, and he dyed his hair blonde, and he was managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan. But in a few months, Harley Race was given the king gimmick of the WWE. Supposedly that he won a few wrestling tournaments, which was actually he did. He won a few of them, and that's how he got the King gimmick. King gimmick was like kind of a little like cartoonish, because at the time the WWE was kind of a cartoon and stuff, and it Harley Race as a king maybe fit him because he was King of the Ring, 7-time NWA World Champion and stuff. And usually, like the gimmick, when the king beat his opponents, the preliminary wrestlers would have to bow to the king. Bobby the Brain Heenan would like have the preliminary wrestlers bow like that to the King of the Ring, Harley Race. It got even so bad with the King gimmick that in like Tennessee and stuff, when it was advertised that the King was wrestling, they thought it was Jerry the King Lawler instead of King Harley Race. And like Jerry the King Lawler sued the WWE because of false advertisement. And the King Harley Race had feuds with like Junkyard Dog, which culminated at WrestleMania 3. The Dog was way out of shape, and those matches were pretty horrible and stuff. And Harley Race also had a series of matches with Hulk Hogan in the WWE in the spring and summer of 1987 Texas Death matches. They were pretty good and stuff. Even though Harley Race was over the hill, he still gave some good matches to Hogan and stuff. And if the pay-per-view were had a lot of pay-per-views around that time, it probably would have headlined one of them, and Hogan would have won and stuff. But Harley would have, good challenger, and he also feuded with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. In the spring of 1988, Harley Race missed some time after he try to do a diving headbutt to Hulk Hogan on a Saturday night's main event. Hogan ducked, and it injured Harley Race's intestine. He needed intestine surgery to remove a big portion of it, and he missed most of 1988. He briefly returned to the WWE to feud with King Haku over the King title. They had a match at 1989 Royal Rumble, which was decent enough, but Harley Race lost to King Haku, and he passed the torch afterwards. Harley Race basically wrestled a few more places like the Dying Stampede territory, Puerto Rico. He had a couple matches in WCW in 1990, beating Tommy Wildfire Rich at Great American Bash 1990, and had a few matches against Larry Sabisco in the dining days of the AWA. In the spring of 1991, Harley Race retired from active duty, and he became a professional wrestling manager. He managed Lex Luger to the WCW World title in 1991. Also, he managed such wrestlers as Vinny Vegas and Mr. Hughes and Yoshi Kwan and the Awesome Khans. But his most famous wrestler he managed was Vader. He managed Vader to 3 WCW World titles and stuff. Plus, in addition, Harley Race was very respected backstage in WCW. He mentored a couple of wrestlers, Mick Foley and Steve Austin, and Harley Race got in physical in these matches. He would always use his diving headbutts and stuff, very physical. In the winter of 1995, Harley Race got into a car accident that ended his professional wrestling managerial career because he could not take any more bumps for Vader, so he had to be forced to retire. And then afterwards, Harley Race briefly worked as a bounty hunter. Then he opened up his own wrestling training school, then started his own regional wrestling promotion, independent promotion in 1999 called World Legion Wrestling. Harley Race is so respected in the wrestling business as a trainer and stuff. He mentors talent and stuff. And he's still going strong today. He's been inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame, WCW Hall of Fame, NWA Hall of Fame, and International Wrestling Hall of Fame. He's been in a lot of shoot wrestling interviews, which was pretty good. He wrote his book, 2004, The King of the Ring, which is a great book and stuff like that. And he's one of the legends of the ring and stuff like that. And he probably is maybe the second most greatest NWA World Champion besides Nature Boy Ric Flair and stuff. And, the King gimmick in the WWE was, even though it was a little, outrageous and corny, a cartoon character, he gave Hogan a run for his money at house shows for the WWE title in 1987. He's a legend of the ring. And that's about it on the 7-time former NWA World Champion Harley Race. That's about it on these video blogs. Tomorrow, 3 more video blogs coming your way. First video blog will be about the top 10 cities that should get an NBA franchise. Second video blog is about some changes to the NHL Network, which are going to happen now because the NHL Network's moving to Secaucus, New Jersey, with MLB Network taking over the digital rights and the web content. They're going to be in the same studio as the MLB Network, so I'll tell you probably some changes you'll see on the NHL Network. And the third and final video blog of the night, that's the personality profile, which will be about WWE Hall of Famer, the original Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers. And lots of great stuff coming up in a few more days, 11 more days into the first ever Ask Rich video blog. So keep those questions coming up. I have a few in already, but Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, start sending them in, because the more the merrier. Keep calm, and I'm a Julie Brennan guy, Molly Rosenblunt, Fox 35 Rocks. And in the words of Hulk Hogan, what you gonna do when the largest arms go wild on you? Bye.